Mark Geyer manufactured a medical practice in Rockville, Maryland, and a national notoriety for engendering the undermined hypothesis that antibodies cause a mental imbalance. The Maryland Board of Physicians suspended his permit 7 years back in light of the fact that he was treating extremely introverted kids with a medication thought about perilous for youngsters and not known to reduce indications of the turmoil. Be that as it may, the controllers who stripped Geyer's qualifications are presently in the last place anyone would want to be, requested to each by pay a huge number of dollars in harms by a judge who says the board mishandled its energy trying to mortify the specialist and his family. The board posted a restraining request on its site in 2012, charging that Geyer had shamefully endorsed medicine for himself, his better half and his child while his permit was suspended. In a bizarre move, the request named the medications being referred to. Online fault finders of Geyer paid heed, taunting the specialist and his family in web journals and remarks for their utilization of the meds. The Geyers say the state exposed those subtle elements for retaliation, to rebuff a specialist with offbeat thoughts. State authorities say it was an innocent error. However, Montgomery County Circuit Court Judge Ronald Rubin agreed with the Geyers, granting them $2.5 million in harms. He called the request a noteworthy rupture of medical protection and blamed the board and its staff for neglecting to save messages identified with the case and arguing numbness about the request on the testimony box. On the off chance that their declaration were to be trusted, which the court does not, it is the most pessimistic scenario of aggregate amnesia in the historical backdrop of Maryland government and comparable to the aggregate memory disappointment in plain view at the Watergate hearings, Rubin wrote in a December assessment. He requested 14 board deputies, the board's lead lawyer and the lead agent on the Geyer case to pay half of the harms out of their own pockets, amongst $10,000 and $200,000 each, contingent upon their total assets. A representative for the State Wellbeing Office, which directs the board, says the office tries to adjust protection with an obligation to educate people in general of dangers. The respondents, who are engaging the choice, generally declined to remark or did not react to talk with demands. 3 of them disclosed to the Washington Post that the judge's form of the realities wasn't right, and blamed him for descending too hard on volunteers who were giving their chance. I felt Judge Rubin had an issue that remains to be worked out with the Board of Physicians. A portion of the stuff he thought of is stunning, said Jonathan Lerner, who left the board a year ago. He set the tone for the future that nobody else would need to serve on a board. Raquel Coombs, a representative for the Maryland Attorney General's office, which speaks to the board, said of the decision, "We accept there are not kidding mistakes in both the actualities and the law and will overwhelmingly seek after those on advance." Mark Geyer built up a national after, and drew across-the-board feedback, for embracing his conviction that thimerosal, a mercury-based additive once in the past utilized as a part of youth antibodies, adds to extreme introvertedness. Numerous medical gatherings and judges rejected his examination as genuinely defective, and the antibody and mental imbalance connect has been over and again exposed. In any case, a development that sees antibody necessities as an interruption on parental rights has grabbed hold in California, Texas and different states, encouraged by President Trump's grip amid the 2016 crusade of the disparate immunizations and extreme introvertedness interface. General well-being specialists consider hostile to vaxxers as a grave danger to a standout amongst the most critical medical improvements in mankind's history. Some Facebook clients share Geyer's recordings to ask against influenza shots, even in the midst of the most noticeably awful influenza flare-up in about 10 years. In any case, it was Geyer's treatment of extremely introverted kids that got the consideration of the Board of Physicians in 2006. Geyer trusted mercury from immunizations cause early adolescence, hostility and manifestations of a mental imbalance, and that stifling testosterone with a medication Lupron, which is endorsed to treat prostate disease, endometriosis and fibroids, yet additionally is likewise used to artificially emasculate sex-guilty parties, would turn around those impacts. No sound medical research demonstrated this treatment to be successful for extreme introvertedness, the Board of Physicians noted. The board suspended Geyer's medical permit in 2011 and repudiated it the following year, referring to his techniques and saying he had distorted his accreditations. A few different states likewise denied Geyer's medical permit, and controllers focused on his child for rehearsing pharmaceutical without a permit. Maryland authorities kept on following Mark Guyer's exercises, as per the claim the Guyers documented in 2012. A significant part of the case records stay under seal. In any case, Rubin's request demonstrates that board staff were following websites and news articles chronicling Guyer's destruction, deriding him and his child in messages and delighting in their embarrassment. When they got a tip that Mark Guyer may have still been recommending solution, they pledged to investigate it. Before holding a proof hearing, board lawyer Victoria Pepper drafted the restraining request. Rubin described the choice to name the medications in the request as an unprecedented break of security for an office that should know superior to any other individual the significance of classification in the medical calling. He indicated messages sent later on amid the test as confirmation of the board's inspiration to humiliate the Guyers. Pepper alluded negatively to the Guyers as Daddy G and Infant G in messages to Josh Schaefer, the board agent driving the test of the Guyers. "Perhaps we can help make it an awful month for the Guyers," Schaefer composed back, utilizing a disdainful reference to the medications they were utilizing.